Hello there, my name is Bruce Rain from Breakers Creations, and thank you very much for joining me today for this live stream, which will hopefully be a success. We'll have to just wait and see. As usual, I will do my little hello to people, so scroll. Why aren't you scrolling up? Why won't you let me scroll up? Okay, hello to Jay from the House of Moth, who I believe is actually doing some work in his workshop today, which is, he hasn't done in a while. He's doing some soldering and interesting stuff like that. Why isn't he live streaming? You'll have to ask him. Hello to Dana from Dana Does Stuff. Hello Jack68K. Hello Gibbertronics. Hello to KMac Vintage. Hello RW, Chris Angelis, Tev Rudin, Mr. Tech Gadget, BC Jeffro, point 5. Colin, this does not compute. Hello there. If that reloaded board doesn't work, it's not my fault. There is actually a story behind it, and that is that this board was donated generously by Colin from This Does Not Compute, and so yeah, I mean, I heard that there were apparently some defective ones of these made. There were a batch of them made where they had the wrong diodes down here on the RAM or something like that. But supposedly this is not one of those, so we should be fine. Max Button, hello there. 64-bit guy, Mark Anning, hello there. Mr. Tech Gadget, 8WT, Chip Connect, and Patrick Pitts, hello there. And anyone else who wants to say hello, feel free to jump into the chat and say hello. So just a little bit of background on this. So I basically got hold of an SE30 board from someone. I think I did some recapping for them, something like that, and they said, look, I have this dead SE30 board. Do you want to do a trade? And I think I swapped it in return for doing some recapping or something like that. Lots of bad battery damage on the thing. And I thought it would be a fun thing to do on a live stream, just go in and try and repair it, which I did. And I had limited success. So I got to a certain point with this, but then just was having all sorts of troubles. And then when I got hold of this reloaded board, I thought, well, that's a really good candidate. I've got most of the bits all ready to go. All I have to do is transfer them from the old board to the new. And so I've just been squirreling away at it for a while now. I've just been doing little bits here and there. During my last live stream, I spent a bit of time removing some components. So I now have wrong bag. I now have a bag somewhere here. This bag. I have a bag full of all the little through-hole components, all the last little bits and pieces that need to go on there. Not all of these need to go on for testing. For example, we've got all these resistor nets that you use for the, sort of the floppy connector and stuff like that. I mean, you don't need any of those, but I'm going to put on the majority of stuff, and then we'll do a test. And what I have in store for this board is a project. So hang on, let me just get, there we go. What I have in store for this is a custom build. So I'm going to be using this board, and so because it's going to be a custom build, and at this stage I have no intention of connecting anything to the PDS slot, I probably don't need to stick that on, but I might eventually anyway. I definitely don't need the metal bar that goes across here, because that's not going to be needed. That's part of putting it into the original chassis, and it's not going to go in the original chassis. And then, of course, using the wonderful thing that I got sent by Will from KMac Vintage, his little doohickey. What do we call it? An SE30 Compact. This there. And you can see I've now got a little Pico ATX power supply connected up to it. It uses, I think it was about 1.6 amps when it's got a SCSI connected to it, something like that. And I've got a little power supply here floating around in a box. Got this little guy here. This is a 4.2 amp 12 volt power supply. So this should give me enough power to power not only the SE30 logic board and a SCSI to SD or whatever, Zulu SCSI, Blue SCSI, whatever I end up connecting to it, and also a screen. So this little power supply will power a little 12 volt LCD as well. Now, I am not the first person to go in and actually build, sort of like an LCD style SE30. What is going to be different about mine is the design that I'm creating for it. It's going to be quite a wild looking thing. So anyhow, 12 volt 3 amp, but 4 amp is fine. Yeah, well, see, we got a electronics chain out here called JCar Electronics. They're all over the place. I talk about them quite a lot in my live streams because I've got one just up the road, and so I go up there and get components from them all the time. They had like a warehouse sale type thing a while back where they were just getting rid of old stock and they were selling it for ridiculous prices. And I came across these little 4.2 amp 12 volt power supplies, and I just thought, little switching power supplies, and I thought, you can always use a 12-volt power supply. So I bought like 5 of them, something like that, and I paid literally dollars for them. It was like a couple of dollars each, like $5 each or something like that. Might have even been less. They had them marked at a particular price, but they were getting desperate at that stage. They were just trying to offload stuff. And when I went up to go pay for them, they marked them down. I ended up paying a pittance for them. I really should have gone back and got the rest of them because, I mean, come on. Who can't use 12-volt power supplies? Garrett Trailer, hello there. Happy to see you back tonight and make the end of my week. Awesome. Thank you very much for that. As I mentioned before, Jay from the House of Moth, who is watching tonight, and I believe he'll be a captive audience because he's actually sitting at a desk. He's not in his garage doing tinkering. Assemble a couple of A2 DVI cards for Apple II devices while watching. Yeah, I'm really interested. One of the things that I'm most interested in... Okay, so I should just preface this with a couple of things. First of all, I have 2 Apple II style computers. I've got an Apple IIc, which of course is a beautiful looking computer. I love it. And of course it's got that Snow White design aesthetic from Frog Design, which I love. And I base my custom builds on that sort of stuff. And so I've got a 2C, not a 2C Plus, but a 2C. And then I've got an Apple IIe, which is donated by Rudy. And that one has a 110-volt power supply, which I need to replace it with a 240-volt power supply for the part of the world that I'm in, which I haven't done yet, but I plan to do. In the meantime, I've just been using it with a step-down transformer. And one of the things that I really love with the Apple II community is that there are these memory upgrades that you can get for them. There's ones where you can actually you can run like a hard drive, like an SD card type storage with them. I think that sort of stuff is available, and of course there are all these video output tools as well, where you can output your video from your 2E with super sharp, crystal clear images. So which I love. I've actually got a color screen for the 2E, which is actually marketed as a 2C screen, but it works on both. And I've got the little green screen one for the 2C, which is the little ET screen. Thomas, hello there. Server cabinet. Okay, so let me just go up in here. I'm going to have a quick look here because I saw a couple of things that caught my attention in the chat. Okay, well, so lots of streams today. Sorry, I haven't actually been in front of the computer, so I haven't seen if there are other streams. So I promise I wasn't actually trying to upset anyone else that might have been streaming today, but this is pretty much the best time for me to stream. Sunday, 11 a.m. I've had enough time to wake up. I 3D printed this. This is from Star Trek. Does anyone recognise it? It's a fairly obscure sort of little model, but some people might recognise it. Learning a lot about resin 3D printing, I can tell you that for sure. It's going to be quite the video when that comes out. Right, so just keep an eye on there. Okay. Star Wars robot. Guess what? He got it right. Jay got it right. And he always tries very hard to get it wrong, but he actually got it right. It is a Star Wars robot. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's just have a look at this board and we'll see where we're up to and what needs to be done. And we might even focus. How about that? Just zoom in a bit and focus. Oh, wow. Sorry, my screen just went blank then. It's this liquid crystal. It's this monitor I have here. I probably need to replace it. Right, so here's the board. Here's where we're up to with this. Hello, chicken. Pretty much all the surface mount stuff is on. I will need to check it fairly closely. I put on the ROM connector. I'm going to put on 4 RAM SIMs. I don't need all 8 because to test it I only need to have 4 SIMs in there. I'm going to put these caps here because I have them. I've got a crystal that needs to go in here. There are diodes that need to go here, but they're only required for the battery. And I've got a crystal that needs to go there for the real-time clock. What else have I got? I will put these Bourne's resistors in. I'll probably put the restart buttons because they'll probably be useful. So anyhow, I better get into it because I just listed all those things and there's a whole bunch of them. Crikey. Oh, and the fuses. Yes, I will need the fuses. So let's start off with the RAM. Now, look, what a sensible person should do is buy new ones of these with the metal clips rather than these original plastic ones. But I don't have any, so, you know, I feel like that's a very good reason to actually just use the originals. There we go. There's my screen just went again. I don't know what's going on. Might need my special zoomy glasses for this. Sorry about my little cut on my arm. It's pretty gross. Should have put a band-aid on it so I didn't have to show it to everyone. Right. Just wait for my soldering iron to heat up. Starbuck Tech, hello there. Ascertain 20, I don't think I've said hello to you. I may have, but I may not. 1111 over there. Yes, indeed. It was for a minute anyway. Let's go see if we can see any chickens in the chook view. Chook cam. Yeah, there we go. That's the big Australorp. That's the noisy one. The one that's eating from the bowl at the moment. And the one walking across to the right is the one that's blind. So, mostly blind anyway. If it were human, it would definitely have a stick. There's no doubt about that. Or a dog. So, yeah, there we go. Wasn't that fun? Let's have a side view here. Oh, that's a nice view. I like that. Okay. So, yeah, in my last stream, I basically had an old board, a donor board, sitting on a heating table thingy, who's a fudge, and then I got a lot of things off. It took a lot longer than I had expected, and that was just because of how long it took for the board to heat up. Because I need to actually get that heating thing out again, because I've got parts to take off a 2FX board so that I can finish off Kai's 2FX reloaded board, which we have already tested, and it worked. We like it when things work. Come on. Come on. What are you doing? Come on. I've just got to clip these off a little bit. I have to say at this time of year, because it is spring over here, it's spring here, we are getting a lot of eggs at the moment. A lot of eggs. And also because it's spring, we're getting a lot more just general bird life here, which is nice. It's difficult when I want to go record my YouTube videos because I end up with lots of bird noises in the videos. But it is very, very nice to have all them birdies around. We have, the other day, well, actually even this morning, we had some eastern rosellas in the tree. I'll give you time to Google eastern rosella to see what they look like, but they're a beautiful little bird. And they travel around in little family groups. So you don't just get one, you get a whole bunch of them in there. When I was removing this, the heat has made these little plastic stem things melt and fatten up, and so I'm having trouble getting them in the board. Now, if worse comes to worse, I will just cut them off completely, because that's how little I care about them. But I'd like to get them in if I can. Yeah. Feeling all giddy because he loves warm weather. I'm giddy because winter is coming. Yeah, I do love the warm weather, I've got to tell you. My wife hates it. So as the weather warms up and I'm going, yay, and she's going, boo. She doesn't quite like the cold the way you do, Jay. She just likes more moderate weather. Been in the high 80s. Not quite sure what that is, but I'm guessing, based on what you're saying, that's pretty warm. I might use the microscope for this. I think it'll just be easier for me, and then easier to show you what I'm doing. because, you know, soldering RAMs is just fascinating. RAMs. I've got some things curing behind me that I 3D printed earlier. I've got this rather amazing looking figurine that I'm printing in, and I'm doing it for the video that I'm making. I'm making a video at the moment on, oh wow, I've got a massive time delay. What is going on there? Let me just go do something here. I'm going to try something here. Just trying to get the thing to refresh itself. That's a bit better. It's still a little bit out, but it's all right. Okay, let's get you guys all in focus, and then I'll get me in focus. That's the deal. That's how it works. Right, so the RAM thingy is in. I'm just going to make sure it's nice and flush. We want it flush, like a toilet. Oh, uh-oh. Fume extraction police on alert. Sorry about the noise. I have had several requests from on my review of this fume extractor to provide a video of how I modified it to put a button up on the top. And I really should do that, because I think that will be something that people who buy it will want to do, because it was literally the first thing I did as soon as I got it. I was like, there is no way I'm folding myself in half to press the power button on the floor under the desk. Otherwise, you know, I'll just end up making all them old man noises. Cooling down in Florida. High 80s rather than 100 plus. I know 100's hot. I definitely know 100's hot. We had a little hot spell a little while ago, and what I mean by hot is hot for the time of year. We were getting up into the high 20 Celsiuses, and it was still winter. It hadn't even become spring yet. And that was very unusual. Not so unusual it's never happened, but just quite rare. And then next week we've got, this coming week, I think we'll have our first 30-degree day of the season. 30 is always the kind of that point where you go, yeah, it's hot. If it's, it's still hot when it's 29, I get that, but you know, generally when it's 30, you go, yeah, hot. It needs the button on the top. Yeah, no worries. So that's the fume extractor. So I will make a video about it. That I will definitely do. I'm not looking forward to it because I'll have to bend down and take the unit out from underneath the desk. So I'll make my noise when I go pick it up. But what I did was where I had to wire the connector, there's no proper decent plug there. I had to piggyback the wire onto sort of like a pad on the board, which isn't very strong. So what I did to add some strength is, because it was only a 2-layer board, no layers in the middle of it, I actually drilled a hole in the board at a non-crucial spot, and I put a cable tie through there to hold the wire still. So if the wire ends up getting a yank, it's not going to get pulled off those delicate pads. So that was what I did. That's probably the only tricky part about it. And then I ran it down the bottom and then up around the outside. It's not super neat. And then I've got it running on the outside of the tubing that just held on with cable ties. There are a lot of people who were sort of saying, I should put it inside the tubing, but I was just worried about it getting really dirty inside there from all the things getting sucked up inside. What if they made a soldering iron that dispensed solder through the tip? Well, that would be quite difficult because the tip would be hot and so would therefore make the solder melt. But there are soldering irons out there that have dispensers, and the dispenser sits on top of the iron, so it comes out and then the solder comes out at an angle. The downside with those is they're usually big, bulky soldering irons that are designed for soldering big chungus things, you know, big wires and stuff like that. They're not really designed for sort of precision work. But, you know, for what I'm doing at the moment, like a whole bunch of through-hole soldering, it'd probably be fine for that. But I don't mind. I don't mind doing it the manual way. I'm going to have to change glasses again. I can't see anything. Can't see anything. Working on 3 boards now for a person in Tasmania. Tasmania is a lovely place. I haven't been there in decades, but it's a lovely place. Bit cold during the winter for my liking, because it's quite a lot further south than we are. A lot closer to the Antarctic. The Antarctic. Hello, toilet. Great and cost-effective fume extractor. I would agree with you there. I love it, and it has completely and totally changed the way I do things. I mean, I was so much more cavalier about fumes, but now I am super careful. It always comes on. Fume extractor always comes on, and why isn't this going through? This is not flush enough. No. I'll probably have to get a bit medieval on it. Oh, I bet you I know what's happened. Or not. It's just not sitting flush. I'm wondering whether some of the pins might still have some stuff on them. So I'll whip it out. Excuse me while I whip this out. And I'll just check all the pins. Ouch. Spiky. A 2 CI to fix. SE reloaded he did, but can't get it to work. So I'll try SE loaded for him today. Well, how about that? Come on, too much soda. Thank you. So I have some of these pins, when I removed it, they still have a little circle of solder on them that came out from the hole they were originally in. And that can sometimes stop it from going down. So I think I'm clear now. Let's try again. Did you sort out the CPU from last week? Now, remind me. Something just bipped. Oh, this thing bipped. Yep. Remind me what I was, what needed sorting out last week, please. I was working on. I did a recapping. What the hell was that? Something just moved all by itself. Oh, I know what it was. Cool. I did a recapping of an SE30 last week, didn't I? Now that. I should be sleeping anyway. No, you shouldn't. We know you shouldn't be sleeping, Francois. You should be watching this. Your expertise is needed. So yeah, I did a recap of an SE30 last week, and it chimed, but I wasn't getting a decent image. And I since then have cleaned the board, so I went through the ultrasonic cleaner, got it nice and sparkly clean. Could do with some more cleaning, to be honest, but it's a very dirty board. And then anyone here selling a Color Classic Logic board doesn't have to be recapped. I'll check if I have a spare one, Max. Let me have a look. And Yeah, now what I then did after cleaning that board, I went and tested it. It still didn't work, but it does boot. So I was able to connect a SCSI device to it, and it was booting into an operating system. So the only thing we're not getting is a video signal. So it's chiming, it's starting, it's booting, but we're just not getting a video signal. So it's almost definitely going to be one of those E chips, that row of E8 chips along there. So I'll probably remove all of those and clean them, put them back. If it still doesn't work, I end up potentially replacing them. But I've only tested that one on Will's little thing here. I wouldn't mind seeing what it looks like on an actual analog board, see what we're getting, if anything. Because often what you end up seeing can give you an indication as to what the problem is. Okay, so this is our second row of thingamaboobs, RAM sims. Found a few interesting things while repairing it. You can probably share those interesting things, because I've got an analog board here which just blows a fuse. It's almost definitely a bridge rectifier or something like that, but I just haven't had a chance to test it yet. Or it might be a great big fat cap, one of those big fat caps, but I haven't had a chance to do any testing yet. I've been too busy trying to get other people's stuff back to them. Not to mention, once you start a YouTube channel, the production schedule is challenging. Got to keep the content coming out, and of course I have a certain standard of content that I provide. I like to write scripts, I like to plan things, I like to refine them, I like to get good quality B-roll, all that sort of stuff. I like to have bird noises in the background of my audio. And I've actually got a video that I'm hoping to work on a little bit this afternoon, just at least get some of the audio done, which is a custom build that I did, which I'm looking forward to sharing with the world. And the process of trying to organise a commercial arrangement with a company as part of that video, and they are incredibly slow to reply. So if they don't reply in a timely fashion, I will not be mentioning the name of their product in my video. If they do respond in a timely fashion, I will mention the name of their product in my video. Right, so there's 2 RAM slots in place. I better finish soldering this CPU. I only tacked it down with 4 pins. I don't think it'll work with doing that. You like the bird song. Well, that's good. I'm glad you like the bird song. Okay, I'll be posting in the group if I confirm what I've found. I think it could help a lot of people with faulty color classics. Awesome. Always like the sound of that. Built a battery for my PowerBook 520C, but it's not getting used. It seems I need to run some tools to hint the OS about it. The 520 and the 540 had this kind of smart battery. And there was some software that you could actually get for the PowerBooks that you would run that would try, like if you had problems with the battery, it would try and wake the battery up. I can't remember what it's called. It's like battery refurbish or battery fixer or something like that. I remember running that on my 540 to try and get an old battery working again. But they were different. I know the 520 and 540 batteries were different to the batteries to the previous models because they did have more brains in them. There was a little chip inside. And I don't know if that has something to do with the repacking side of things. Went out for dinner last night, had some yummy Indian food. Very, very tasty. Started watching a... Hello, Dana. Hello. 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 PowerBook intelligent battery. Intelligent means, yeah, I'll mess with you. It's not far from the truth there. Intelligent battery. I like it. Started watching a documentary last night on Jimmy Savile. Now, I would imagine probably a lot of Americans don't even know who Jimmy Savile is, but English people certainly know who he is, or was. He's dead now. Ultimately a good documentary, but it drags a bit. It's 2 1.5 hour episodes. Got through the first one, started on the second one. Wife fell asleep, so I'll be having to watch part of that second one again. And I sort of feel like they probably could have condensed it down a bit, made it a bit shorter. I sometimes think with some of those Netflix documentaries that, whoops, didn't need to solder that one, that people end up getting paid for the length of the documentary. So they're out trying to make their documentaries longer than they need to be. Are we having fun yet? 500 series was the first to use nickel metal hydride battery cells. Well, there you go. So NiCad, of course, the nickel cadmium ones, the big issue they had was they would develop a memory. And so they would have to be discharged, regularly and then recharged. They were really bad for the memory, those batteries. A lot of people ended up devising these things where they'd have a low and slow drain source, and they would connect to the battery and then have a little thing that would automatically, once it got down to a certain amount, would switch off, and then you would charge them up. And so you would get rid of that charging memory. Because these days we're all using lithium batteries. And for anyone who cares to know, Australia is the largest exporter of lithium in the world. Because we're very good at digging holes in the ground here. Very good. Experts at it, you might say. We're nearly done here, by the way. Now, I have tested the CPU. I tested the CPU in a socketed Mac. I pulled the old CPU out and popped this one in, and it did fire up. So I am confident this CPU is fine. So doing all this soldering, I'm soldering it straight to the board, no socket, is hopefully not going to be a huge waste of my time. Now let's see that I got all the pins, because I do sometimes forget. Oh, that looks good. It looks good. It's very good. That's nice. That's nice. It's good. Yeah. Okay, so. Oh, how on earth do you have 4 Tim Tams left, Dana? I mean, my goodness. Someone gives me a packet of Tim Tams, and they're gone very, very quickly. Bloody love Tim Tams. Now, I need to put the audio guy on. This little fellow is here. I've got to put this on because this has got a little switch in it. And if the switch isn't sort of activating, you won't get sound out the speaker because it'll think you've got headphones plugged in. So he does need to be stuck on. I think that is correct anyway. It's certainly the case, I think, with the Classic. And I'm pretty sure it's the case with the SE30 as well. Mm-hmm. I bloody love Tim Tams. And of course, for folks who are not from Australia, we have very, very large variety of Tim Tams out there. So it's not just like one type of, we call them a biscuit. I know Americans call them a cookie, but we call them a biscuit. And we have, you can get berry flavored ones, and you can get caramel filled ones, you can get dark chocolate ones, white chocolate ones. There's literally, there is like shelves and shelves and shelves of just Tim Tams when you go to the supermarket. And I have no objection. There we go. Okay. If you can buy those headphone sockets new still, that's a good question. And unfortunately, I don't have the answer. See, this is nifty. It looks like there's a couple little pads here that Bolle has put on here that you can bridge that would allow you to get sound without the socket connected. So he's thought of everything, I'll tell you. I'm sure that's what it is. No, I'm not. I think it's what it is. I'll just, let me go to the scope view here quickly. So he's got these two little pads and it says speaker. My guess is that if you bridge those two together, it will force it to go to the speaker even if you don't have the headphone socket connected. And I reckon that is just super clever. It's the sort of thing smart people do. Oh, crap. This is so not flush. How do I manage that? There we go. That's the better. From Mouser. Oh, awesome. Anyone got a product code or something? A Mouser code? Anyone? Bueller? Right. Need an SE30 board here to just look and make sure that these resistor nets are all the same. So that one is 115, 115, 115, 002. 84. Actually, I could just check these and see they've all got the same codes on them, and I think they do. Made a bit of a meal of some of these, getting them off. So that's 9015, 9015, 9015. Yay! Yay! Went that way. Cool. I managed to pull out a via with this one when I removed it, but did not need the via, so I am not concerned. Heavy-handed Bruce, they call me. Foxhound477, hello, and thank you for joining. I still haven't tested this thing yet. I'm just putting the last of the components on. Some of these components I'm putting on I probably don't need to put on, but I just figured I may as well. I'm sure I'm not sure of anything, actually. These are part of the parallel ports, I think. And this one is part of the floppy drive. But I'm going to put them on anyway, and I'm not using either of those things. But there we go. There we go. When you're putting a component in, now was it? Just refresh my memory, Will, if you're still in the chat there. Does you actually ended up producing a little PCB where you can put some surface mount resistors on it to recreate these little resistor nets? Is that correct? Why are there more pins here than I have? Another person did. I just build them and make them available. Oh, there you go. SJ1 3535NG headphone jack. I've got to buy a bunch of those. Right. So it looks like this is meant to go in the middle. So I've actually soldered the wrong pin. I'll show you what my dilemma is. There we go. So my dilemma is on here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 20 pins, but this is only 16 pins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, the way he's done the screen printing on here, he's actually got it so that I should be using, it looks like I should be using the middle 8 and not the ones on the end. That's how it appears. So I'm going to go based on the screen printing from Bolle. Yeah, these ones are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, these are the bigger ones. Oh, I got it right. Excellent. Thank you, Will. I mean, most of the stuff that Bolle creates is very logical. You don't really have too much of an issue figuring it out because he's like, you know, I'm going to set this up so that if you didn't know, you can figure it out. And that's nice. Beep, beep. I can hear a chicken behind me. Come away again. This, so the SE30 board that I'm using as the donor is one of the later revision ones that doesn't have the socketed CPU. Has the CPU directly soldered to the board. This one, which is a socketed one, this one has the 20 pin. So I'm guessing that Apple went from 20 to 18, you know, with the later revisions of the SE30 board. They did a few things between those two revisions. One was they moved some things about. There's a capacitor on the bottom, which on the older revision, it was on one side of the RAM slot, and on the other revision, it was on the other side of the RAM slot. Kooky, hey? There we go, looking good. Okay, there we go. You're building your boards. I should do that. I mean, even just for fun. It's the kind of thing I like doing. Because I'm weird. Weird, dude. Weird. Oops. Don't need to solder the one that doesn't have a pin. It won't know. Focus. To get 48 ohms out of it is hard to get from PCB or JLC, so I use 50 ohms with the error rate. It covers it fine. I buy all of my resistors from DigiKey, so as long as I can get it from DigiKey, because I assemble that crap myself. I'm not going to have someone else put that together when I enjoy doing that too much. Where's my third resistor now? We're done with it. I definitely had 3. I removed 3. The last one was really manky. It's all bent and stuff. What have I done with it? It's fallen on the floor. Wouldn't be the first time. We'll come back to it. It's not actually needed for what I want to do. It'll turn up. It'll turn up. I had it. Okay, we've got some fuses here. 1, 2, 3 fuses. And I got this thing. Probably need this for the ADB. Which way around does it go, do you reckon? Does it matter? Oh, it does matter. Shuzbut. Oh, is that a dot to indicate pin 1? It's upside down anyway. So I'll show you the problem that I have. It's this thing here. All the writings come off it. But if I'm... there's a couple of things. I think... Is that a dot? No, that's just dirt. So that's not a dot. That looks to me like it's like 7, 2, X, 5 or 6 or something like that. 7, 2. So that would suggest to me that it goes that way around, upside down. Maybe should have paid better attention to that when I removed it. What do you think? What do you think? Oh, well, the smaller the better. Well, that's for me. That's the joy. The smallest resistor I have ever soldered, I've got it around here somewhere, was a... Oh, was it? It's 2 sizes down from an 0402. Might even be 3 sizes down. And that was definitely difficult. But every size leading up to that wasn't too bad. That one sucked. Now let's have a look here at that. Has no impact on direction, but it's got a label. It's got a label on there to show where pin 1 is. So I have to comply. Otherwise I feel like I haven't done my due diligence. Need to swap glasses again. These glasses that I've got here, the ones with the little magnifier on the bottom, are a little bit difficult to look through the microscope with. Oh, something crawling on me. Welcome to Australia. And let's get these little, what do you call them? I'm still baffled as to where that last, oh, here it is. It's right here. My final resistor net, so we can do that now. We've got a few bended pins though. These are little tweezers that are designed for plucking hairs. And I find them really good for straightening pins. Too much solder on the... I don't think it was a spider, Jay. It might have been. They fail off, and that's why I socket them. Yeah, it makes sense. If I were a smart man, I would have put sockets in. But I am not a smart man. I think I do have sockets this size. I probably could have socketed them, but, you know, I mean, you just got to get in there sometimes and take a risk. What could go wrong? I had a crack at running a, trying to run Basilisk on a, sorry, let me rephrase that. I had a go at running Basilisk inside of RetroPie on a Raspberry Pi 01. And it's not working out very well. Some sort of memory related issue. The Zero maybe just doesn't have enough memory to do it. But I thought this would be fun. How my Hacko works. Got any tutorial videos? Hacko, what's that? That's the soldering iron, isn't it? Which bit are you needing clarification on, Jay? There's not much to them. Switch it off and on. If you want to change the temperature, you stick the key in, and then that allows you to press the star button to select the number you want, and then you can up and down, and then I think you press star to lock it in. It is the stupidest interface of any soldering iron in the world, and it's the one thing that just drives me bananas about them. All they need is an up and down. You know, you could have an up and down, your knob. You could just have a knob that you just turn to go up and turn to go down. Or they could have an up and down that goes up by 5-degree increments and an up and down that goes by 1-degree increments. But no, we've got this stupid star to select the number and then change it. The 888 has a knob. There's something about the 888 that I don't like, and I can't remember what it is. I can't remember. There is something about the 888 that I don't like. And it's maybe that it doesn't use T12 tips, but I could be wrong. It may use T12 tips. Can't connect the hot tweezers. I don't think the FX951 allows you to use tweezers. I didn't think it generated enough power. I don't know. I'm just going to get some flux onto this, and guess which flux I'm going to be using? I'm going to be using Styri. Styri flux. Links in the description and a discount code. It is the only flux I use because I love it. Yeah, now the 888 does allow tweezers, which is something I actually had a massive go at Hacko about. And like, the 888 is cheaper than the 951. The 951 doesn't have tweezers. The 888 does have tweezers. They said, oh, you know, if you want tweezers, you have to buy the next model up. It's like, or the next model down, you clowns. This is a snug fit, this one, isn't it? Ah, that's better. I just had a big blob of solder there. Got rid of the blob. It's not a snug fit anymore. Oh, for pity's sake. Fuzzy. Oh, it's come apart. I hate that. It's how these bloody fuses work. They get too hot, they come apart. God, I'm making a meal of this. Okay, that'll do. Not touching it again. Yeah, you've got to buy the new multimeter. In actual fact, when I reviewed that multimeter, I made it very, very clear that we're talking about two very different types of multimeter here. You know, compared to the 601 and the whatever it is, 118, HT118E. And it's really up to people as to what they want. I mean, I like both soldering. Both bit of multimeters. One of them has that beautiful color screen. It's more compact. It has it's got push button. It's a smart multimeter, so it will automatically figure out what you're trying to test, as long as you're testing voltage or continuity or resistance. So, yeah. But then the other one is a more conventional, more traditional sort of one with the click wheel. I've got a chicken getting upset at the moment. What you got to worry about, chicken? You're a chicken. Life is easy for you. And it's sort of easy for chickens. Chickens are absolute assholes to each other. Got a little white one that's just always getting picked on. Shut up, chicken. It'll be the black one. It'll be the big Australorp. There it is. Just standing there, looking at an empty food bowl going, do something about it right now or else. Even though there is food in the feeders, but never mind. I've got to check and make sure these fuses are still fusing. I've made an absolute mess of them here. I don't know how fusy they're going to be anymore. They might actually not be very fusy anymore. I'll get my multimeter here, Kaiweet's HT118E, which I just reviewed recently, and I was impressed with. Runs on AA batteries, which is something I really like. Fusey. We're good. Fuses always come apart. Yep, they do. I would much prefer a different fuse. I mean, I could stick a Pico fuse on. They're a one-off one. I used to have a whole stack of them, but I don't know where they are now. They used to be there. But I have this horrible fear that they fell off the back and ended up in the bin. But I don't know. Okay, so we're really motoring along here. I need an ADB port because I think I might like to try and connect a keyboard. These pins need a little bit of TLC. Which fuses do you use, Will? Just out of curiosity, because I mean I know these ones are the self-healing ones, so there are plenty of self-healing ones available, modern equivalents. What has he done? What have I done? The holes aren't big enough. I'm so serial. The holes aren't big enough. See this? See that hole? It should be the full width of that pad there. It needs to fit this in it. It needs to be like that. But it's like that. Which means I can't actually poke those pins in, which is a bit of a poo. Once again, I'm sure this is not news to Bolle. I'm sure it's something he has already discovered by himself because he has built these. And he's gone, oh crap, it's a mistake. It just means I don't have as much strength on this, but shouldn't matter. What rev is that board? Colin, what rev is this board? '03. It's not one of the ones I built. That board came from Kai. Ah. That Kai chap. He's got a lot to answer for. So let's just hope this isn't one of the ones with the diodes, the wrong diodes. I can test that. Because I've got other boards here I can check. And I will do that right now. Because I'm not going to go through all this trouble to then suddenly find out that I've got the wrong diodes. So these here, I believe, are diodes. So we're going to put this into diode mode. Oopsie. Sorry, itchy. Oh, crap. Out of focus. Alright, looks like it's these. Let's just check. Let's check. Are these diodes? They don't look like diodes. If they are diodes, they're being connected somewhere else. Oh, crap. Ugh. So they are 46W. We're specific to your board. Okay. That I like. That is the best news I've heard all day. So let's just have a quick look here and see what else we need. to test it out. We're getting pretty bloody close. Oh, I've got to stick a couple of oscillators on here. Oh, and I've got this little guy here as well, don't I? I've got it here. Keep it out of menace, put it on the board. Oh, okay, excellent. SMD fuse this one. I'm just going to screen snap that. Did I screen snap? Don't know. Shift Command 4. Oh, why is my keyboard not working? I'll revert to the old-fashioned method. Quicksilver Oz, hello there. Take a photo with my phone. There's technology for you. It's such an amazing thing when I think about like data storage and stuff like that. When I came from an era where, you know, I mean, data storage was so expensive that, you know, you have images and you scale them down, or, you know, try and compress them, or, you know, whatever, having to delete old images before you got new images. And now I take a photo of my screen to remember a few numbers. It's just ridiculous. It's insane. Insane in the membrane. Right, a brand new SCSI connector. It's all right, you've earned it. Oh, I finally got my screen snap working. Ah, Steve from Mac84 is here. Hello there, Steve. Steve got his new little buddy, little Pippin, little cutie. Backen. Welcome, Backen. Yeah, I was hitting a bit of Cypress Hill there. Or as I used to call them, Syphilis Hill. Okay. Oh, geez, I didn't do the scope view. What an idiot. What an idiot. Idiot. Okay, so I've just stuck on a SCSI connector there. And then I've got to get my little restart button. Steve is an old hat at looking after bunnies, so I'm sure he has all the necessary precautions in place to make sure that the bunny doesn't eat through nasty cables. Seasoned bunny veteran. Yeah, I know. No scope cam. What an a-hole. Let's just change views here for this for a moment. So I've got to get this reset button in, but once again the plastic is a little bit melty. So I'll trim that some. If I can find my trimmer. Here's my trimmer. Don't stab yourself with tweezers. There we go. He's in. Isn't this exciting? I'm excited. Now, I should just preface this by saying every reloaded board that I have ever made, that's the Macintosh Classic and the 2FX, I've actually made 2 Macintosh Classics and a 2FX, has not worked first go. So I just want to say that to kind of set some expectations moving forward. Okay, got a couple of crystals to plonk on here. Got this guy here for J11. No, not J11. Sorry, it should be Y3. Goes that way. Cool. J11 is where we connect the speaker. I think I have the blink RAM around here somewhere. I haven't actually put it in a computer yet. Right, that is that one. And then we've got a nice sparkly new crystal here for the real-time clock. Because the old one got absolutely and totally rogered. Which does happen when you have a battery explode. Now these are, I think they call them, hello. Is it? Oh, what do they call these oscillators? There's a particular name for these types of oscillators because they're like a little tuning fork inside. Do they call them like tuning fork or wishbone or something? I don't know. There's a spatial name. Scarlet, hello there. Ow, that got hot. Bernie's hot, Bernie's hot, burn. Right. So let's just have a quick little assessment here. I might need my recapping guide. You'll find at recapamac.com.au. No, just .com. I think I didn't renew the .com.au. I couldn't be bothered. No, the .com I didn't renew. It's .com.au. Yeah, that's right. recapamac.com.au. And I'm just going to go here to my SE30 to just get a refresher, a reminder of these caps. There's a 470, 16, 220. So 470 and 220. There we go. I should remember that stuff, but I don't. axial caps. Did I put the sound chips? Yeah, I did put the sound chips on. I put them in sockets because I'm clever. The caps are blue. Am I blue? Now I have a thing. Here we are. Here's my thing. For putting bending these pins at the right distance. And that's it there. And the smaller one is that size. So just pop that in there. I always do this with the label up. Just makes it easier for people in the future. So I'm thoughtful. Sort of. Sometimes. That's too wide. Yeah, welcome to the URL if you want it. I actually own 68k.com.au. I haven't figured out what to do with it yet. But I think it just points to Recap a Mac at the moment. Maybe. Maybe it's pointing to a development project I've been working on. Anything's possible. I'm going to do it this size. I'd rather have them go out than go in. So either you still have it, hasn't dropped yet, or someone else snatched it up. It's probably in what's that word? They put it in holding. And I probably should just buy it back again. I mean, you know. Alright, so I think we're about ready to test now. I'll just do a quick once over. We've got our oscillators in there, haven't put these two diodes down yet, but I won't worry about that yet. That's only needed when you connect the battery up. I think, anyhow. Oh, I haven't got a little speaker plug. Speaker plug. I got an old used one here somewhere. And I could just stick pins in, but I had one that has the little clippy thing. I saw it when I sat down. Don't you vex me. It amazes me how things travel on this desk. They start off in one location and then end up somewhere completely different in such a short span of time. These are up too high. They've melted. I can see myself doing a mischief there, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to grab some good old-fashioned, normal garden variety little pin jumpery things. Actually, I'm going to use yellow ones. For fun. Whee! One thing that I really like that Bolle has done here, I assume this is what he's done anyway, out here he's got two little jumpers, little pins there, where you can stick a jumper and it's labelled ADB power. So I assume if you want to, you could tap into the ADB power from that there, because I think it's 5 volts or something out of ADB, something like that. Oh, 2 chickens today. Hello. You might need D2 as that's how power gets to the... okay, alrighty. Alrighty. Now I have 2 different types of diodes in my my miscellaneous things, and they're not very well labelled. They should be labelled as in, one is for a classic and one is for an SE. But no, I haven't done that. No. So I shall have to actually test them to find out if I've got the right diode. Oh, I've got stacks of diodes in here. But alas, these are not the diodes you're looking for. A big pile of resistors there too, isn't that cool? Well, what are they? I don't know what they are. Just working my way down the miscellaneous pile here, folks. We'll find them eventually. I've got a bunch of no good capacitors here that I always keep so that I can demonstrate the readings you get for no good capacitors. I've got a bunch of little LED lights that are used inside the old Mac Plus mouse. It'll be like the last place I look, I promise you. Whee! Got my little container of things there for manually building SCSI 2SDs, which has sort of become a bit obsolete now. There's some diodes. Let's see if these are the diodes I need. Foofa. I will do that by comparing this. See if it has a 5D on it. KA2 it has on it. KA2. They are not the only diodes I have. I do have more. I just have to find them. So many interesting things here. Oh, I know where the other ones are. The other ones are in here, I think. Yes, I was saying before, I've got this container with stuff for building SCSI 2SDs, which of course just don't do anymore. Not since we had Blue SCSI and Zulu SCSI. And I've got the makings here for a few, except I don't have the main chips. Okay, so let me have a look here. What do we got here? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? What do we get? I know I've got diodes in here somewhere. Here we go. No, that's not what I want. Was it here? I'll find them, don't worry. Have faith, have a little faith in me. Nope. All these parts have now become kind of useless. So maybe not in that one. I'll find them, don't worry. Nope. Okay, we've got to try again. I know I have these because I have used them before. It's just a question of finding where I put them. Not there. Not there. Sorry everyone, I'm sure this is extremely dull. Ah, found it. It was here all along. Okay, what have I got here? I know that one of them works on the SE, one of them works on the, this is an L2. So I've got that one and I've got that one. One of them will work. I know because I've tried it before and it does work. Even if it's not the right component, it still works. Okay, so so we're getting so that's open that way, and that's voltage drop of there, so that's black there. Let's try one of these ones. Never dull listening to your sonorous tones. Oh, that's what kind words? What kind words? Whoa. Okay, let's check that one. Yeah, this one should work. Yeah, this one should work. That's good because that's the one I spilled all over the table. Makes it worthwhile spilling it all over the table. So these ones in this little container, these are the ones that work on the Classic. Right, great. Let's put them on. There we go. So, going to plonk these diodes on here, and no one will know the difference. No one. Don't tell anyone that they're not the right ones. Certainly don't tell the computer. I'm really trying to pull the wool over his eyes here. Probably a little bit more flux than I needed, but sometimes a little bit difficult to get small amounts out of those tubes. And it basically just comes, when it comes to these little 3-pin diodes, it just comes down to, you know, which one is the, what do they call, the anode, and which one is the cathode, is that right? I think that's the term. And sometimes they're flipped around the other way. And so you can't use them all the same. And because it's not like just a normal diode that you just spin around the other way, because it has 3 pins. It's designed to only go on one way. All right. Diode. Microdiodular servo systems. That's the magic word. There it is. Just going to double check my handiwork here. Oops, other way. So yeah, we want that to be open. Hey? No, yeah. That to be that, and that to be open. And it is. So these diodes should work. It should be fine. So that's it. We can probably give it a try now. I don't know. I started working on this such a long time ago that I sort of feel like I probably should go in and check a few things, but we'll check it if it doesn't work, eh? So I've got my little cool Who's a Watcher thing from K-Mac. I think I put it on upside down. Yes, I have. And then I need to connect up some power. Power. Here we go. Here it is. There we go. There it is. And I need to connect up a speaker. Interesting thing about the speaker, I had a question from Steve from Mac84 recently, and he was saying, does it matter which way around you connect this speaker up? Because they have a definite positive and a negative. You sort of think, well, if there's a positive and a negative, they should be around a specific way. But an interesting thing is that sound waves, they go up and down and up and down and up and down. Now, if you connect this with your positive to positive and negative to negative, now I don't know which one is which, but one way around, what will happen is the wave will go up first and then down. If you go the other way, the wave will go down first and then up. Apparently, some people with incredibly acute hearing can actually tell the difference. Well, when they have a speaker like that, they can tell that the polarity has been reversed and it sounds slightly different to them. I think that's nonsense. I don't think you can tell the difference at all. Now, it's really not an issue. It only becomes an issue if you end up with two speakers and you have one with the correct polarity and one with the incorrect polarity. Because what happens is those two waves can then actually cancel each other out because they're going opposite to each other. So the polarity of speakers is mainly only important if you're running more than one speaker for emitting the sound. So there you go. There's a little bit of interesting sound stuff for you today. There we got that. We got that. I'm not going to connect power to it yet. We will get a little screen here. Power it up. There's my little screen. And now we'll just see what happens. Oh, I've got to stick some RAM and ROM in it, don't I? Let's just steal some from this one. I do actually have RAM and ROM, but I'm going to choose these only because I know these work. Yes, thank you everyone for keeping me honest. So yes, I do know the RAM and ROM that I'm about to put in here work. So I will do that. It's interesting, I had someone contact me the other day saying, oh, I just bought some new RAM for my SE30 and a new ROM, and it stopped working. You know, what's wrong with it? And of course, my first response to a question like that is, oh, well, you just put new RAM and ROM in it, so my guess is it's going to be the RAM and or ROM. You know, you've got to, in particular if you're buying new stuff these days, I mean, who knows if it's going to be compatible. All right, so 4 megabytes of RAM. I think it's 4, pretty sure it's 4. I've got a ROM, I've got real-time clock, I've got crystal, I've got rhythm, I've got a CPU, I've got a glue, I've got all sorts of video stuff. Well, I think we're ready to give it a go. So shall we give it a crack? We'll just see what happens when I power it up. So, oh, hang on. Let me just make sure I'm on 12 volts. Yes, good. I didn't want to just send like 30 volts to this or something like that. Okay, just check that that's not touching. Good. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I got a pop from the speaker. Definite pop from the speaker. And we're getting a video signal. Well, that's probably from this thing. So that's okay. Oh, I need to do this again because I changed SD cards on this, so I probably have to go in and select the thing again. The SE. And we go here to select. And we go down here to select profile, select. And we go down to Apple, select. And we go down to SE30, select. Okay, no, we're getting a CMAC image there, so that's all good. So that means we've got an issue with an address line somewhere, I guess, or a data line or something like that. But we definitely got a pop from the speaker, so that's always a good sign. Let's just go back here to return. There we go. So it's, I don't know how well you can see that, but this is the classic CMAC signal, you know, image, which is, you know, a little bit as I've often described, it's just like an engine light on the car. So let's just, yep, okay, so the reset button is working, so it's not stuck on reset. Programmer's interrupt there. That's good. Okay, so that's actually quite promising. I'm feeling good about that. So the next thing you need to do is, well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it off, and I'm just going to jiggle around the ROM because sometimes it can just be as simple as bad contacts on the ROM. So we'll just pop this in here, give it a bit of a jiggle. There we go. Power it on again. And we did get a little bit further that time by jiggling it. We're now getting a sad RAM. So what that tells me is it's reading ROM. That's a really good thing. But we've got an issue here with the RAM. Now that can be so many different things here. I don't think there's a problem with the RAM as such, but I'm pretty sure I used the original RAM demux chips. So I may have to, the multiplexer chips, the RAM mux chips, the RAM multiplexer chips. So I may end up having to replace those with newer ones, because again, this came from a board with really bad corrosion and damage around that area, so anything is possible. I will, of course, just give all of these RAM sims a jiggle as well. And of course, we also have to remember that this board is ultra dirty. It is absolutely covered in flux and gunk. So it could be as simple as having to give it a clean. But I will check out a few things first. I haven't even really gone in and properly checked my work, so anything is possible there. Right, let's try again. Yep, okay. Definitely getting the SADMAC chime. So the next thing I need to do is look into the RAM side of things. I might clean this up, clean some of the flux off this to start off with. But that is actually a really, really positive first step. So I'm feeling absolutely excellent about that. So yeah, that's nice. So I'm going to jump across now to the microscope view, and we're going to just go and have a look at all of my work, and we'll see if I've done anything stupid, which of course is always possible, like bridge chips, bridge pins, that sort of thing. So I mean, look how much flux is in here. Far out. Definitely needs a clean, that's for sure. Excuse me. looking for things that aren't soldered or are too soldered. Did I use new ones or old ones for these? I took all the old ones off, so they probably are all the old ones. Ooh, I need some more alcohol. Not the sort of normal alcohol. This alcohol. Could be a stray solder ball. Always a possibility. But there's a few really big positives. First of all, we got an image. We got the CMAC image, which means we are actually getting a video signal from it. So that's a huge thing. That actually is a lot of things that we know are good. We got the SAD-MAC chime, or it gets a SAD-MAC chime from ROMs, so we know it's loading up the ROMs. That's another huge positive. So, you know, just being the whole half glass is full, half-assed full. That's not how you say it. You know, these look nice and new. Maybe they are. Yeah, they're new. They are new because I recognise the logo on them. They're definitely new. So I didn't use the old ones. That was smart of me. Either that, or I replaced them on the board that I was repairing. That's the more likely thing. The board the stuffed board. Okay, so. This will, of course, spend quality time in the ultrasonic. But I'm just doing a quick clean at the moment. Alright, let's keep hunting around. So they didn't look too bad. I mean, there's so much gunk in here, look at that. And I see little bit flecks of like metal and stuff in there as well. That can't be good. Yeah, I really should probably just ultrasonic this, but never mind, we'll keep looking. We'll keep looking. Not expecting any problems there. That's all the video stuff. Let's just have a look here. PLCCs are always the trickiest one. God, look at all the gunk in between there. I really should just clean this board. Oi, what the hell is that? Far out. What is that? This board's been on my desk for such a long time. Is anyone else here starting to get the feeling like putting this in the ultrasonic cleaner will probably fix it? I'm definitely starting to get that feeling. There's a great big fat solder ball in there. There is a lot of crud, and I should actually clarify why there is so much crud on this. The other day I had this sitting on my desk, and what was I using? I had something that was just absolutely and totally full of soot and stuff. Oh, a sander. That's right, an orbital sander. And I went to go use it for something, but some of the sanding that was in the little catcher, because it's got a little catcher that catches all the sanding stuff, some of it had worked its way back up into the body of it because the sander had been stored in a weird position. And I went to go fire it up. I switched it on, and just all of this sanding gunk just flew straight out and forward and onto this board. So this is all little bits of sanding that's all over the board, which of course will come off when I give it a good clean. But that's why it is just like, you know, next level dirty. Okay. Is it just me or are those pins not soldered? I think I might have missed a step. What do you reckon? I've soldered 1, 2, 3 sides. What do you reckon that is? That looks like a broken LED. It probably is a broken LED. So let's solder those pins, shall we? Look at that. No, which ones were it? Which ones was it? I've lost the chip already. Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one. It's a SCSI chip. That would have been interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'm going to give it I'll give the whole thing a go with the toothbrush in a minute. I'll just get this chip soldered on first. The one that should have been soldered on in the beginning, but I clearly missed a row. There we go. Because I should also mention in my defence, I'm not really trying to make excuses here. At the end of the day, I did stuff up, but I do often end up doing a lot of these while I'm doing live streams, and of course it's very, very easy to get distracted while you're live streaming. Very easy. Just going to get the worst of this off. I'm not really concerned about getting this thing spotless or anything like that. If it still doesn't work, you know, I'll go and give it another inspection. But if it's still not working, then I think that the next has to be putting it into the ultrasonic cleaner. Just seems the most logical thing to do. But there is so much good here. I mean, it really is getting a SADMAC chime, having the reset buttons work, getting a video signal, getting audio, so many different things all instantly know that are working, even though the computer is not actually working yet. It definitely shows that we're very, very close. Very close to getting this up and running. I'll just give this another crack after soldering that. I don't think that'll make any difference because that was the SCSI, but, you know, why not? I have to admit that hearing that SADMAC chime just brought me so much joy. Where did you get your alcohol pump? Are you talking about this little thing? The thing that I put alcohol in and press down to make it come out of the thing? They use these sorts of things in like nail salons for nail polish remover and stuff like that. I think I ended up buying that just on AliExpress, somewhere like that. They're like some sort of like dispensary thing. But yeah, as I say, I actually bought 3. I bought a packet that had 3 in it. And when they get really dirty and gross, I just throw them away. And then, of course, I ended up making a little holder that holds it in place. So that's actually been really good as well. But yeah, they're cheap as chips. Really, they are so inexpensive. Okay, that time we got the nothing chime. Yeah, got the SADMAC again. A lot of power getting around to the place. I can see that. Yep, so I'm getting a CMAC video signal, as well as the SADMAC chime. So I think, do you reckon I should just chuck it in the ultrasonic cleaner? And while I'm doing that, I'll do some work on another SE30. What do people think about that? What do you thinks? The ultrasonic's not warmed up, but alright, so let's just get all this crap off, ready for me to pop in to the cleaner. And then, of course, once it's clean, that just rules that part out. And it also allows me to inspect a little bit better, because at the moment there is so much gunk between the pins of these chips that it's hard for me to even see if there's like a solder ball tucked in there. So let me just, excuse me. I've been sitting down for a long time and my bum is sore. I'm just going to heat up the water in this quickly. I've got a little liquid heater that I use here. And you on? Nope. Where's the plug? There's the plug. He's on. Why aren't you switching on? Just got to check what's going on here. That's there. That's fine. My little oh, there he goes. I think I got a bit of a dodgy wire in there. I might have to open that up and have a look. But yeah, so I've got this little water heater that I bought, and it allows me to get this heated up quite quickly. It only takes like 5 minutes. It's going to be a horrible noise too, by the way, when I start up. So just letting you know, just to be prepared when the ultrasonic cleaner is going, it will be noisy and yuck. Whoopsie. Just noticed that I've got the pins touching for my real-time clock. Here we go. There we go. So, Jay, how's all of your repair work going? So Jay was getting into the workshop today, or to the to the workshop. He was going to do a little bit of repair. Is everything going to plan? You fixing everything? That other board, the other board that I was working on, is this one. Okay. So the issue I have with this board here is that it works, fires up, boots to a system, but I get no video output from it. Right back into it. That's what I like to hear. Absolutely. So let's just go here to the scope view. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, you can see there's quite a bit of corrosion around these chips here. This is the U8 row. So you've got UG8, UF8, UE8, and so on, all the way through to UA8. So U8 row, and we've got a lot of corrosion around these pins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to whip these off, clean them up, and then stick them back on again. It's just has to be done. I'll get myself some TWEEZERS. Might get a little bit of flux on here, SteriFlux. I mentioned this in my last stream. I'm going to mention it again. I believe I've got a package coming to me from Steri with a new formula that they are trying out. And it's apparently going to be pretty darn good. And I'm looking forward to trying it out. So we'll take that chip off, and then we've just got to clean this up. So I'll get myself some solder WICK, wickety whack. We're going to try and talk Jay into live streaming some repairs as well. He used to do that from time to time, and it was quite enjoyable and entertaining, but for some reason he just decided he didn't want to do that anymore. And so we're working very hard to try and convince him to start doing some live streams again. Of his sharing his repair knowledge. Because that's what it's all about, repairing knowledge. I mean, sharing knowledge. I've lost my scalpel. Did I put it away? I put it away. Good old me. Hey. Alright, so what I want to do is just do a little bit scrapey here, because I want to make sure I can see that that point where the pad becomes a trace, there's no break there. So it doesn't take much to show it, but you just got to reveal a little bit of the trace and then see that it does go where it needs to go. I'm going to add a bit more flux here and then some more Sonic. I can't compete with breakers. Oh, don't you worry, Jay. I would make sure I would never stream at the same time that you were streaming, so there would be no competition. Fume. Incidentally, that laptop that I worked on a few live streams ago, the one that my cat threw up on, is working quite well. The cat is also happy that it's back. He is still sleeping on it quite regularly. I just have to hope he doesn't throw up on it again. Whoopsie. Hey, Mike. I hope you are well. Very sorry to hear about the passing of Sassafras. I think it was Sassafras, was it not? One of your cute kitty cats. That was very, very sad to hear that. So right at this particular moment, Mike, just to fill you in, get you up to speed, I have just finished building an SE30 reloaded board, so brand new PCB, but bringing all the components across from a battery damaged board. And we just did our first test, and it was kind of good, kind of bad. The good part of it was that we got a SAD-MAC chime, which means it was loading the ROM. The good part was we got an image, which means the video is working. We got the SAD-MAC chime, which means sound's working. And yeah, but then I discovered as I was inspecting the board that it's really, really, really dirty. So I figured I should clean it. So it's about to go into the ultrasonic cleaner, so I'm about to make a hell of a racket. Most of your cats this year, down to 2. Oh my goodness, Mike, that's terrible. What have you been feeding them? Are they just, I mean, I assume we're just talking about old cats. I mean, we lost 2 this year. Okay, so the pins on this one were pretty yucky, but I would not think that what I have done there would make any difference to this working, so I'm not going to even bother trying to start it up again. Most of them were just old, yeah. Yeah, it happens. Can't be helped. They get old. Just going to check the temperature of this ultrasonic water. Oh, that's warm enough. Okay. Pop this over here. I haven't actually figured out a spot to put this yet. I used to have a little hook that I hung it on, but since I redid my layout in here, I haven't got a replacement hook. Where's the basket? Actually, an SE. I don't need a basket for the SE. That fits in diagonally. So let's pop him in. Or her. I want to place my gender opinions on that logic board. So we'll just do 5 aside, I think. I hope that isn't too loud and awful for folks. Can't be much worse than the fume extractor here. Fuffing away. Just a little reminder, I haven't said this today yet, but just
smash that like button.
If you wouldn't mind, please. I have replacements of every single one of these chips, so if I find myself, that just cleaning them up, putting them back doesn't work, I can always try putting new ones on. I went, I got one of my cats put down recently, just like, I don't know, maybe a month ago, something like that. And while I was there, the vet tried to bloody fob off a new cat on me. I'm like, no. We still have 2, and it's enough. We've decided that once we lose the chickens we currently have, we probably won't get new ones. It's a shame because we do love the fresh eggs, but chickens are a bit of a pain. Little tip to anyone who's ever working on an SE30. If you're ever working in this area here and you end up getting heat on all these little holes, you see all these little holes? Well, on SE30s, the holes are all full of solder. So there can be kind of a flip side. They get hot, and then you go around here, underneath, and you end up with these little blobbies coming out here. They're the little blobs of solder underneath. And if they come out far enough, they can actually sometimes merge it together. So you can end up accidentally creating a short circuit there. So just be aware of that. If you're doing what I'm doing here, always a good idea to check on the back of the board before firing it up to make sure that none of those little blobs have joined together and created a short. It's all about the tips on this channel. It's all about the tips. That's a P, T-I-P. Nice little streaky bit of solder there. Ow! Sorry. The wick got very hot. Hotter than my little fingers could handle. Little fingers. Big sausage fingers. Stray chickens all over the place. Definitely don't get that here. If there's a stray chicken found around here, it will either get picked up by someone who already has chickens and become part of their flock, or it will end up at the, they call it, they used to call it the pound, but now they call it like the animal care shelter or some crap like that. I don't know. The place where they kill animals. Stray animals, I should say. People often make jokes about, oh, you got chickens. Oh, you sort of, oh, what's for dinner? Oh, we're having fried chicken for dinner. Yeah, you know, and all. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get that. It's chicken, and we do eat lots of chickens. But I tell you what, I would not want to eat one of my chickens. 2 reasons. Number one, the minute you kill them, they stop laying eggs. So that's one thing. And I mean, the amount of eggs we get from these chickens is quite extraordinary. But the other is that killing a chicken, okay, sure, not too hard really. But plucking it, gutting it, you know, I mean, getting a chicken ready to cook, I'd rather someone else did that, thank you. That was 5 minutes on one side. Let's flip him over. Hot, 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 Bernie's hot. Hot. You don't like the 166? 166 is your nemesis. Let's see what's under the 166. I can always replace it, but okay. Okay. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm going to be getting hungry for lunch pretty soon. What time is it? 1 o'clock. That means I've been going for 2 hours. I generally like to keep my live streams over 2 hours but under 3. So there we go. Just setting some expectation for you there. I am cooking a meal tonight that takes about 3 hours to cook. So I have to work backwards with that. If I'm going to eat at 7, it means I've got to start cooking it at 4. Okay. Dirty. These have all come up pretty good with a bit of a wipey wipe clean. Oops, so that's nice. And I wouldn't worry too much, Foxhound. I mean, I was just killing time till you got here. Same joke every time. Never gets old. Come on. God, my gut just made the most amazing noise then. Bad gut, naughty gut, noisy gut. Okay. So as I've said, at this stage, I'm pretty much just looking to replace, so keep the same components, not put new ones in, unless I have reason to believe that one of them is bad. And so far, I don't see any massive corrosion on the legs or anything like that. Mr. Tech Gadget, hello there. I don't think I've said hello to you yet. A2 DVI card. Oh, yes, I have said hello to you. You were working on the card at the beginning. I remember that. The A2 DVI card. Yes. You've been busily working away. Working perfectly in the TUI. That's excellent. So I assume what it does is it allows you to get DVI. Is it a DVI output from the thing? Is that what the card does? HDMI, but DVI signal. Yeah, cool. That is excellent. I do like that. Just makes life a lot easier, doesn't it? Because then you don't have to deal with CRTs and crap like that. Because let's face it, CRTs suck. Just going to put these caps on here while I'm at it, because I haven't got these axials on here. Where are they? Here we are. Come to me! Oh, boy, we're at a bit of a wasteland with movies at the moment, aren't we? We keep waiting for some good movies to come along and they don't. I started watching Twisters the other night, like the sequel to Twister. And, oh, man, I got an hour in and I just stopped. It pissed me off. Yuck. Whatever I wiped my hand on had a thermal compound on it. Back into repairing Foxhound. I enjoy watching your work. I've learned a lot from you. Also, you got me back into repairing electronics. I'm very pleased to hear that. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? It's a very rewarding thing when you repair stuff. I don't just repair my own stuff. I repair things for like family and stuff as well. And I mean, I recently, it's probably not that recent. It's probably a year ago now, but I repaired my mother's oven. And it's nice to be able to do that. Save someone a bit of dough. Yeah. That one. So in this movie, Twisters, right? I don't know if anyone remembers the original Twister, but the whole premise of the film was that they were trying to get right under a tornado so that it could suck up these loads of mini transmitters, and that would help them learn more about tornadoes so they could then predict them in the future. Well, okay, they were successful, they did that, but they obviously weren't successful in predicting tornadoes. It was obviously a complete waste of time in the first movie, because in this movie, they're still trying to figure out tornadoes. So the little transmitters inside were a complete waste of freaking time, and so it essentially makes that whole first movie completely and totally null and void. But let's put all that aside for 1 minute. This time, rather than launching little things into it, they're now wanting to scan it with a special 3D scanner. But they can't scan it just from one location. They have to scan it from 3 so they can triangulate. Spoiler alert, by the way, people. And I mean, I'm not giving anything away that much from the plot, really. I'm giving just the general premise. I didn't watch enough of it to give the whole thing away. But in order for this scanner to work, they have to triangulate. So they go, oh, okay, so we've got to stick that one over there and that one over there. Oh, but one of them has to be right in the path of the tornado, sorry. It's like, oh yeah, what could frickin' go wrong? Jesus. It wasn't a remake, no. It was a sequel. They even referenced the machine they used in the first one. Right, I'm going to I haven't done much to this. I've cleaned up those 3 chips, but I'm going to try it again. See if I get a video signal now. Who knows? So this one works. Just to clarification. Okay, I better get this board out of the cleaner. Oh, for goodness sake, thank you. And I'll just start drawing it. Plot was shit, cast was shit, it was all shit. Yeah. The acting was atrocious. In particular, the female lead. Oh my goodness, I was just watching it thinking, America's a big country. They must be able to find better actors than this. Anywho, maybe it was the direction. Maybe I shouldn't blame the actor. Okay, so this has had its good old clean. There's still a lot of gunk on here, I'll tell you what. Let me just get a toothbrush in for a sec. Toothbrush. I'm going to need to clean this or replace this ultrasonic water soon because it's starting to get a bit of gunk in there. So what I'm doing now, you can't see me doing it, but I'm actually just dropping this board into a tub of isopropyl alcohol. And what I'm doing, there's 2 things I'm doing here is giving it a final rinse, number 1. But the other one is the that I am displacing the water and replacing it with alcohol, because alcohol sort of pushes water out of the way. And what that then means is that this board will dry much quicker because the water's all been displaced and replaced with alcohol, and alcohol, of course, has a very low boiling point and evaporates away at quite low temperature. So I'm now popping it into an oven. Again, you can't see this because it's all off camera. And I'm popping in the oven, and it's going to sit there at about sort of 60-ish degrees, 60, 50, 60, maybe a bit lower Celsius. That's too low. And yeah, and then it will dry it out. It will dry out much quicker than if it was just left out in the sun or something. Okie dokie. So let's go here to, whoopsie, top view. And we'll switch off the fume extractor. And we'll stick ROM and RAM in here. Ram-a-lam. Whoa, Black Penny. Ram-a-lam. There we go. Okay, so got that. Connector got that. Got my little screen here. There we go. So what we were having with this one is it was chiming, starting up, getting no video signal. So we're hoping we'll get something a little bit better this time, but I haven't really done enough to make me think we will get any better. But let's test anyway. Oh, did it connect up the speaker? I didn't get any sound. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, what do you think of that? That looks nice, doesn't it? I want to get the chime, because this one definitely did chime before. Okay, let's try that again. It wouldn't be the first computer I made worse. Alright, so let's try that again. Got that. This is the little Zulu SCSI. There's a little light there so you can actually see if this is getting power and stuff. Yeah, got a chime that time. And we're getting the right amount of power consumption. Using about an amp. Oh yeah, this is what we wanted. This is what we're getting before. So the problem isn't fixed. Problem is still the same. We've still got this shitty video signal. What's the card in the middle of the board? Yes, I will explain this, and I'll even allow Will from KMake Vintage to drop in a link if you want. So this is a thing, you're calling it what, SE30 Compact or something like that? And this does two things. First thing it does is allow you to take an ATX type style power supply. In this instance, I'm using a Pico ATX. And this can be powered, this is just powered by 12 volts, so that's there. You want couple of amps for it, but that's all fine. So this is powering this little board here. This is then making sure all of the power goes into the board. So we're able to power up an SE or an SE30 board without the need for the analog board. But what it's also doing is it's taking the video signal from this board and it's putting it through this little guy here, which is called an RGB to HDMI. And it is converting the video signal into an HDMI signal, which we can then output onto a normal screen, modern HDMI screen. So it's essentially, this is the replacement for the entire analog board. So here to here is just replacing the entire analog board of an SE or an SE30. So then it's replacing the power supply and it's replacing the video processing side of things. And it's a really, really nifty thing, and certainly from a testing perspective, because it means that I don't have to keep plugging it into the computer every time I want to test one of these. So it's a really, really cool thing, and I am going to be using this as part of a project. I will probably end up buying another one of these, because I want one to use for testing, but I also want one to use for a project. So that's on the cards. And of course, I imagine that if you wanted to, you could actually power this from a decent size sort of rechargeable battery. So if you wanted to actually turn one of these into a portable, get yourself a liquid crystal screen, get this and get some sort of NiCad battery pack that outputs 12 volts, you could turn your SE30 into a portable. How about that? It'd still be smaller than the original Apple portable, wouldn't it? Alright, so we're going to keep going with these chips here, and then if I have no success, I am then going to probably replace this row of chips. One thing I really do need to do, which I haven't done yet, and that's just because I'm lazy, is I really should connect this up to an actual genuine analog board and see what sort of signal I'm getting, if any. Because sometimes what you end up seeing in that signal can give you a clue as to what the problem is. So, what's the wattage usage on the SE30? It jumps up and down. So I've got this thing here connected, by the way. This is just one of the most amazing things. So this is a Zulu SCSI Slim, right? Zulu SCSI Slim. And look at the size of this thing as an external, right? It's the height of the connector. So for anyone who's ever used a blue SCSI or an external SCSI to SD on, say, a Quadra 610 or a 660 or a PowerMax 6100, there's this massive lip that sticks out the bottom of the case, and you can't plug the externals in because the bit sticking out the bottom hits the lip. This thing here is the height of the actual connector, and it is the width of the connector. The only reason it's wider here is because of these screw holes, and I'll show you the inside of it in a second. I'm actually going to be doing a video on this, so this is coming out soon. But this is just the coolest thing, and I want to show you why I think it's so cool. By the way, Gopherman96, hello. I didn't say hello to you, so hello. This little case has a hole in the bottom here, so you can stick a little pin through or something like that for pressing the little bootloader button, because inside this you will find a Pico. Is it Pico? No. Nano. It's a Nano, not a Pico, it's a Nano. Undoing some screws here. It's very, very interesting. If I keep saying it, people might believe it. This is the Mac 84 stage of the live stream where I start singing. Here we go. So this is the unit, and this is just a beautiful piece of design. So the board has little bits sticking out of it. The actual PCB have little bits sticking out of it that slot into the holes of the connector here. And then the board actually sits in between the connector pins. Really should zoom in a bit, shouldn't I? Oh God, where's the focus? There it is. There we go. So you can see the pins are actually soldered straight onto the board on that side and then on that side. So they're soldered straight on there. And so it slots in between the connector there. And then you've got your Raspberry Pi Pico sitting on the top there. It's a Wi-Fi version, so this is one that will do the Wi-Fi as well. And then you've got your little, USB connector at the back there. And it is, without a doubt, the smallest external SCSI emulator I have ever seen. And I'm actually going to redesign this case to make it a little bit smaller. I want to get rid of the screw holes and make it so that it just clips together, because I do that. I always redesign cases because, I don't know, I'm an idiot. But anyhow, I just thought I would make mention of this because it is just the business. And as I say, I will be doing a video on this soon. I'll put it through its paces. I've actually got one in a kit form that I'll be assembling as well in that video. You will find information about this product if you want to search for it on that other forum, the one that's not Tinker Different. But anyhow, look, the main thing I like about this is it's just so small. So it's, just from a convenience perspective. And of course, it has all the advantages of the disk image style SCSI emulators like the Blue SCSI and the Zulu SCSI. It has the advantage of the Wi-Fi on there, so you can get it to emulate a Dana port SCSI device, which gives you pretty slow connection, but it's not still functional. You want to copy something to it via FTP or something, it's fine. It's not something where you're going to get onto bloody the internet or something like that. I mean, you could, but it'd be slow. All right, so what was I doing? That's still warming up in there. We're still drying out the board in there. I'll just check and see what the temp's like inside there. Yeah, it's warmish. Could be warmer. Let me just turn that up a bit. There we go. When I open the door to the oven and I can still smell the fumes of the isopropyl alcohol, I know it's still got drying to do. Got to go. Thanks for the entertainment this morning where I am. You're most welcome, MacMan. MacMan142, thank you for joining. I apologise if I saw that too late and you've already left. But thank you. Right. We're going to continue now with the U8 chips while we wait for this board to clean. And we go here to scope view. There we go. And we're going to keep lifting these off and replacing them because, it's fun. I like doing it. This is a customer's board. There's someone that came to me a while ago and sort of said they had an SE30 that was theirs. They have owned since new. And they've had it stored in a shed or something like that. So ended up getting quite rusty. And they just said, look, I want it back to working condition just from a nostalgia perspective. Try another video ROM if you can. Video ROM, as in this one here. I could do that. I do have plenty here I can swap over. I've never had an issue with the video ROM, have you? Happy first day of fall tomorrow for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. Yes, we are already 22 days into spring. So we start spring on the 1st of September. Oopsie. Melting things with the soldering iron. You've had plenty of those fail. There you go. Well, I can try another one. I'll do that as soon as I finish this. We'll swap it over and see. Because if it's that, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have any spares. Do you have spares? I suppose I could burn some. If someone can tell me the right sorts of chips I need to get hold of. Yeah, okay, cool. I've got a programmer. Whoopsie. Oh, that's a lot of solar. I've got a ROM programmer. I just need to kind of know what sort of chips I need to buy. I'm sure I'll be able to figure out the rest. Pity, pity, pity. Pity, pity, pity. Well, hello, Clarice. Alrighty. Holy solder balls. Let's tidy this up. So we're going to replace this chip, and then after that, if it still doesn't work, we'll swap over the video ROM based on Will's hunch. I'll go with a hunch any day of the week, I tell you. Oopsie. I've had quite a lot of issues with this computer. I've done the recap of its analog board, and it has a problem still, which I have to figure out. It does power the board, and it does give a signal, but the display, but the image is distorted. So I've got to go in and figure out what's going on with that. Your video on making the ROM. Oh, you're a champion, Will. I will follow that. Indeed. Where does one buy those blank chips from? Are they just something you can get from DigiKey, or do they have to come from somewhere special? I mean, I know the answer to that's probably in the video, but I'm just curious. Fume Extractor does no good up there. Oh, they can be hard to find. That is not what I like to hear. Hard to find is not something I like to hear. This is what I've been working on here. I'll just give them a little bit of a clean. So I've done 4, 3 more to go. If Will's hunch does not turn out to be correct, my next step will be to actually replace these one at a time, because I have had many instances where I've had failures on these chips. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is just check whether that replacement I just did made any difference. No difference. Image the same. Then we're going to try a different VRAM. No, sorry, not VRAM. ROM. VROM. Nuts. I eat nuts. Should we steal it from this one? "11-inch MacBook Air on my desk now. I think I'm going to torch it before tossing it out." Which one is it? Which model? What year? And what spec? I love the 11-inch MacBook Air. It's one of my favourite computers because it's so freaking small. Love it. It's like a tablet with a keyboard. Jay doesn't like the MacBook Air. Okay. Got a different video ROM in place now. So, I'll zoom out a bit. Three, two, one. Got a chime. Same issue. So we know it's not that VRAM, VROM. So I'm kind of pleased about that because now I don't have to make one. But always good to rule these things out. We can then move on. We'd be methodical, systematic, hydromatic. Well, we can be grease lightning. It was crap when it was built, and it is even more crap today. The 2011, yeah, they're so low spec. So I've got I think it's a 2015, or it might be 2014 or 2013. I'm not sure, but anyhow, the one that I have was a CTO, a custom to order, and it's got an i7 chip in it, and it's got 8 gigs of RAM, and it's got 1 terabyte of storage. So it's actually quite well spec'd, and it is still quite usable. And as I've mentioned this in my live streams many times before, it's the one that I take away with me when I'm on holidays. That if I am expecting to not have to work, but then suddenly someone contacts me and says, I don't know, can you fix this thing up in cPanel, or whatever the case may be. I have some small task that I have to do as an emergency. It's a really handy thing to just sort of whip that out and just be able to do what needs doing. And then tuck the computer back into the glove compartment. Scope view. Right here. Moving along now, we've got a few 253s. One, two, three, four. 4 253s. For anyone who is new to the live streams and wonders why I'm doing what I'm doing here, I get fresh solder and I apply heat and I rub these pads up and down to get rid of all the yucky old gunk, because we need these to be shiny and like new. Fumes. And so I put new solder on them, apply heat, and then I get a bit of solder wick, and I give them a gentle rub, take the solder off, and remove any excess gunk. So they're making an Australian version of The Office. Like, not that anyone asked for it, but... So you obviously had the original UK Office with Ricky Gervais, and then they brought out the US version of The Office with Steve Carell. And now someone has decided to make an Australian version of The Office. And as I say, I don't know whose decision it was, but someone has decided that it would be a good idea to do that. And I think it is destined to be terrible. What's 2 words for the junky stuff on the board? So there was gunge and scunge. One is dry, one is wet. Scunge, I think, was the wet stuff. Gunge was the dry stuff. And punge was the gaseous stuff. The thing that really worries me about the Australian version of The Office is the person that they've got to play the part of the manager, the boss. So in other words, the Ricky Gervais or the Steve Carell character is an Australian female comedian who I think is just about one of the most unfunny humans on the planet. And so we're not off to a good start from my perspective. I've seen some of her stand-up before, and I don't find it at all funny. She doesn't even make me crack a smile. So it just doesn't really bode well for the success of the show, certainly in my mind, with that person at the helm. Oh, I've seen plenty of funny female comedians. Plenty. But this is not one of them. We've got a female comedian here in Australia called Kitty Flanagan. I think she is hilarious. We've got another one out here called, what's her name? I've forgotten her name. It's right there in my mind. Paquola. I can't remember her first name. Her surname's Paquola, but I can't remember her first name. It'll pop in my head eventually, but... And I think she's hilarious. Oh, and what's her name? What's that woman's name? Quite like Melanie Bracewell as well. She's a Kiwi comedian. And I quite like... Oh, geez, I'm just going blank with names today. This is crazy. Hey, Mr. Brain. Where have you gone? Celia Piccola. Thank you very much, Nick. Sophia was in my head. And I was like, that's not right. It's not Sophia. Yeah, Celia Piccola. I think she's funny. Oh, by the way, yes. Hello, Nick. Hello, Apples Anonymous. Thank you for joining. There's another female comedian that just cracks me up, and I just can't think of her name. Big lady. She's actually South African that now lives in New Zealand. Someone might remember her name. Ow! Hot. I've said it so many times before, but I very rarely burn myself on my soldering iron or my hot air station, but I burn myself on things that have been made hot by the soldering iron or by the hot air station. I do that all the time. Okay, so for anyone who is sort of just recently joining, right at this particular moment, I'm kind of killing time. I built my SE30 board, and I was just giving it a first test, and we got sad Mac chime. And so it was just unbelievably dirty with flux and gunk and stuff, so I decided to drop it into the ultrasonic cleaner. So it's been ultrasonically cleaned, and it is now sitting in the dryer, drying out, and then the hope is that when it's dry enough for me to test, I will give it another crack to see if it works. Hot, hot. I'm basically trying to get, when I am taking a chip off like this, I run the solder wick to get any solder off the bottom of the pads. Because when I put it back on, I want it to be able to sit flush with the board. Often when you take a chip off the board, you get little blobs on the bottom of the pins, and so when you go to put it back on the board, it doesn't sit flush. So I just like to get all that solder off so that when I go to put it back on, I can get it to sit flush. That is the only reason. It's also good to see whether they come up shiny like this, or whether they're dull, because if they're dull, they might need to be sanded or something like that. Get them ready to take solder again. Because things that are corroded just will not take solder. Solder will just float around on top of it. I have people, that's one of the most common things I get asked on my channel from people who've been watching my soldering videos. They go, oh, I'm trying to solder something, but the solder just won't stick to it. What's going on? And because I always say, I mean, this is something I've said in my videos, is that there are very specific reasons why solder won't stick to something. And I list them and then talk about what you can do to combat them. But one of the most common things is things not being clean. Oh, and don't ever try and solder stainless steel. Solder does not stick to stainless steel. Alrighty. Last one. I don't expect this to actually make a difference. And the reason why I say that is every single one of these I've taken off really does not look too bad. So if I don't have success with what I've done here, the next step will be replacing all of these. I won't do that in this live stream, only because all I'm doing is filling in time at the moment. And I do need to eat some lunch soon, and I need to go and do some grocery shopping. Because I'm cooking a slow-cooked meal tonight, and so I need to have all the ingredients with plenty of time so I can get that into the oven for the slow cooking. Yum, yum, yum. I'm salivating just thinking about the meal I'm cooking tonight. Yum, 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 yum. Nom, 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 nom. See, I mean, none of these, all of these here, they're all connected. One of the common problems you end up with is at the point where the pad meets the trace, you get a break, from corrosion, and then you have to run a little wire. None of these have been like that. Every single one of these have maintained their connection. Where'd I put the chip? There it is. Ursula Carlson, that's the one. Thank you for remembering. He's recently had to upgrade from soldering to brazing. Yes, I guess it depends on what you're actually trying to join. The Fixer 69, hello there. Tell us the menu. I am cooking a pork belly. So my apologies to anyone who has religious objections to eating pork. I am not someone that has religious objections to eating pork. So I'm cooking slow-cooked pork belly with crackling skin. So I'm going to serve that with some potato gems and gravy and a side of broccolini. Incidentally, if you're not from Australia, you won't know what a potato gem is. It's what we call tater tots. So America, tater tots, Australia, potato gems. Just in case anyone there is thinking of coming to Australia and they're, can't make sense of the food side of things. Right, this is the last of the chips for now. Spin him around the right way and get our direction correct. Grilled steak swimming in butter. Oh, yeah. What is... Oh, there's a... Lasagna is a meal that I do make quite regularly, but it's very labour intensive because I make a particular sauce for it, like a bolognese type sauce for the lasagna, which is in itself quite labour intensive. So I have to make the sauce first and then I have to assemble the lasagna. So it's a sort of meal that I do. My wife loves lasagna, so I like to make it for her. But it's something that I will generally do when I know I've got lots of spare time. So I can cook that sauce first, cook it nice and low and slow, get all those flavours developing, get that all perfectly beautiful, yummy. Then make the bechamel sauce. Then assemble the whole thing, and then obviously oven cook it to get that lovely browny cheesy on the top. So I'm looking for my toothbrush, but I love lasagna. Love lasagna. My lasagna, that is. Not a big fan of other people's lasagnas. Not everyone. I don't want to generalise. Don't want to be lasagnerist. Barbecue sauce on lasagna, you heathen. Yes, no, that relates back to, oh God, that's a long time ago now. That's many, many years ago. One day I was having a live chat with these guys and we were just sort of chatting on whatever we were using, StreamYard, Skype, whatever it was. And I got some reheated lasagna, so I had some leftover lasagna in the fridge and I reheated it and I put barbecue sauce on it, which I do. I have said, I don't do it when I make a fresh lasagna. I don't put barbecue sauce on a fresh lasagna, but when I'm reheating it, I'll often put barbecue sauce on it. Just give it a little bit of extra pick-me-up when reheated. Yeah, it's funny. I mean, interestingly enough, though, I reckon this is something that I do from time to time. The Americans call them, I think, sloppy joes. But when I make a lasagna, like a bolognese sauce, like a meat pasta sauce, I will often, if I go in and cook some pasta and have pasta, yummy, 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 and then I end up with a lot of the leftover bolognese mince, a lot of that leftover, so it's got all those flavours in it. And I will often end up turning that into like a hamburger. So I'll get a hamburger bun or a sandwich, and then a sloppy Joe type thing. So I'll put the mince on there, I'll put some cheese, lettuce and tomato, and barbecue sauce. So I treat it like it's a burger type thing, but just with the bolognese sauce as the burger. And it's absolutely delicious. I mean, I tell you what, someone might criticize it, saying, no, you don't put barbecue sauce with that. I'm telling you, you just got to try it. Absolutely freaking sensational. All right, so all those chips have been replaced. Not expecting any difference, but we will give it a try just because. Okay, ready, steady. Oh, hang on, top view. Go. Okay, chime as usual. I'm expecting to be exactly the same. Yeah, and it is exactly the same. So that's as far as I'm going to go with this one today. The next thing I'm going to do, well, in actual fact, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull down an actual SE30. I'm going to connect this up to it and see what I get from the video, if anything. The signal I get to the CRT may actually give me some sort of clue as to where the problem might exist. If I get no clues, for example, if the screen is just completely and totally blank, probably the next thing I'll do is just replace these chips, all of these with new ones, and we'll give that a try. But in the meantime, this one here is mostly working. As I say, with this one I can boot to SCSI. I'm getting a chime, all that sort of stuff is going quite well. Now we can pull out the reloaded board from the oven. I think it's probably had enough time for drying. Just let it cool a little bit. And this will be the last, regardless of the outcome of this board, I will then be finishing the live stream. Mainly because I want to eat some food. Some food. Hungry. Okay. Okay, ROM in. Let's have a look at it. Actually, I should have an inspection, shouldn't I? Still a little bit of goop on it, but it's not too bad. It's a hell of a lot better than it was. I'll probably give this a good 30-minute cleaning eventually. Shoop, shoop, better. I have basically the end of the day. What am I, 50 now? 50-something? I know what I like. I don't need to be told what I like. It's not up to other people's sort of tastes. I mean, it's like, take something like Vegemite. I mean, Vegemite's despised by just about everyone except for places in Australia. But I like it. Not going to make apologies for that. Not a big fan of prawns. I want to like prawns, but I don't. All right, just going to have a quick inspection now that I've got a lot of the gunk away. I might see if there's any soldering mistakes that I've made. Scope view. It still looks a little bit moist, but I think we'll still try it anyway. Soldering doesn't look too crash hot on that, but I think it's making contact. Oh, we're going to bleh. We got rid of that. Got ourselves a wee bridge there. Soldering iron's gone to sleep. There we go. Oh, come on, you stupid thing with swear words. There we go. Okay. Bridge gone. See, look at all the gunk still under there. It's not as bad as it was, but there's still gunk there. Yeah. 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 I'll do it all from one side, and then I'll do them all from the next side. Okay, so now we'll do this side. Oh, is that soldered? I think it needs a little bit more solder there. Oh yeah, if anyone gets a chance to watch Dan the Canadian Computer Collector and his brother Stace try Vegemite that I sent them, it's wonderful. Now, admittedly, he didn't do what I told him to do. I did tell him exactly how he was supposed to eat it, and he didn't do it. So he doesn't eat butter for starters. So he had no butter in the house. I said, well, butter is a massive part of Vegemite. You've got to actually lather the butter on the bread first, and then you mix the Vegemite up with the butter. And you only have a tiny, weeny little bit of Vegemite. These are soldered. They don't look soldered well, though. Oh, how do you like that? That's the bridge to end all bridges. Okay. Good. These don't look soldered particularly well either, to be honest. But they look like they're making contact, so I think we're okay. Yeah. Okay. On to the next side. Foxhound, bye-bye. Thank you for joining. Okay. Nope. Okay. Incidentally, I don't feel like that bridge that I found before would be the cause of this. Oh wow, that was the bit that bit that I just soldered. I think was that the one? No, this is a different one. There's definitely a bridge on that one. Couple. That could definitely be the cause. What's this one? What's that chip? UJ11. Not sure what that is. But I definitely had two bridges there. Bloody PLCC chips. Okay. Right, let's move on. Okay. That's a swim chip. Okay, no worries. So that, I'm not sure that that would give us a sad Mac chime, but yeah. Oh wow. They don't look too crash hot. I think that's them making contact, but that's the glue. I think I'll just do a little bit of extra solderage here. The one of the things that would just make this board so much easier to work with would be if the pads on the PLCCs stuck out further from the side. A lot of them are actually, they're only the width of the chip itself. And that's almost definitely the software that was used to actually create the board. It's probably just setting those, that's like its default settings for that. But it would make life so much easier if they were if they stuck out further. We just like if they stuck out the width of a normal SE board, like there's just a standard SE board, those pads stick out a lot further out the sides. Oh, missing. There's an unsoldered pin there on the 688888882. Anyone here updated to Sequoia yet for any Mac users? Have they updated to the latest Sequoia operating system on the Mac? I did yesterday. Haven't had a chance to use it much yet, but updated. I feel very techy. This is like I updated to a version 0, like not a 0.1. It is a demonstration of shoddy work. I did actually whinge about this the whole time I was making this, about these pads on these PLCCs, about how difficult they were to work with. So I've already had a big old whinge about that, so I won't do it again. But I will just say that if they were bigger, it would make it easier. There you go. That's all that needs to be said. Nothing more needs to be said now. Right, so I did find a few issues there. I'm not sure that they will necessarily solve the problem that we have, but it's certainly worth a try. There are enough either bridges or unsoldered pins that to me warrant giving this another crack. So we'll give this a try. This will be the last test, and I will be finishing up. Okay, so let's get our thing. Change to the top view here. Top view. But not for the FPU and the LS30s. Okay. Off the FPU. Yeah, that's a shame, because the FPU is one of the hardest ones to do. I remember that from building it. It sucked. Right. Okay, speaker, power, screen. So what did we get last time? We were getting a sad Mac chime on this one, so just set expectations. It was, we were talking to the ROM, because that's where the sad Mac chime comes from. We were getting sound, we were getting video, but it wasn't actually getting past its self-checks. So RAM, ROM, ROM, RAM. Okay, you ready? Steady, and go. Oops, hang on. I switched the wrong thing. It's up here. Okay, still getting the sad Mac chime. The instantaneous sad Mac chime. Yeah, and that's our CMAC output. So we are definitely getting video output, which is a good thing. That's because we know that's one part of it that's working. So it's just not getting past that RAM check. So a little bit more work needs to be done there. I could potentially go in and check these little resistor nets here. So the problem with those shouldn't have an issue with these muxes because they are new chips. And I probably also need to go around and just do another check for any dodgy soldering, and probably also have a look on the back, because it's not a bad idea to check on the back to see if any components are getting knocked off. And of course I had to solder on all those little inductors, so I should check those as well. God, that's gunky. Yeah. But anywho, we definitely made some progress, so I'm feeling happy about that. Certainly nothing to complain about. And yeah. Very dirty. So dirty. I'm just going to snip these things off. They're way too long. They could make contact with things I didn't want them to make contact with. What about the other one? Where's that one? That one's just up here. Yep, that's mega long as well. Okay. Alrighty, well, okay, we will continue. At least I said I was going to test it on this live stream, and I did test it, so, you know, Came through with my promises. Okay, thank you, Will, for all your help in this. Good night. So anyhow, this is the time where I kind of wrap things up. So as usual, I'll do the normal thing and say thank you to everyone for joining me. Thank you for keeping the chat lively, and thanks for all the suggestions and stuff, and the eagle eye that I got from a lot of people that were showing me little mistakes that I've made on there. So that was excellent, and also for reminding me the names of sort of actors and actresses that I forget. Plenty of stuff in the pipeline, so just keep an eye out, and you know, as usual, trying to keep these live streams running weekly if at all possible. So Jason M, hello. So excellent. All right, well, thank you everyone for joining. Have a good rest of day, night, whatever it happens to be in your part of the world, and hopefully see you at the next one. So let me just see if I can find the button. There it is. Thanks again, and bye-bye.